do you think of the job Zohran Mamdani has been doing as mayor of New York City thus far?
Horrible. Horrible.
That's not how this game is played, Zohran.
I'm a content creator, but I do a little governing on the side. Anyway.
We have been a hard no on the property tax.
There's no incentive to do anything. There's no incentive to own a home. There's no incentive to own a business. There's no incentive to do anything.
Councilwoman Virginia Maloney said, "I know math is hard," in response to the mayor suggesting the council got it wrong.
We got to talk about Mayor Zohran Mamdani, the man who is running the greatest city in the world, and a lot of people are realizing that the things that he promised are just not going to happen. And it seems like a lot of people are having some buyer's remorse. Not a big surprise, but we're going to be talking about it in this video. Let's get into it. So Stephen A. Smith actually dropped a really interesting interview with YouTuber, New York City MTA worker named Trel Thompson, and he was breaking down a lot of issues. Obviously, he has a lot of gripes with the MTA, but what I want to focus on is his criticism of the mayor and some of the things that a lot of people are realizing that this guy is not going to deliver the things that he was promised, and realizing there's a lot of issues, a lot of problems with his administration only a couple of months in. Let's start with some of his criticisms right here.
Whenever you talk about taxing the middle class and the working class and you know, people who's trying to build generational wealth, who's not rich, it's a 100% job. I don't believe that the working class, the middle class should be used as political fodder to get what he trying to get from the governor. We should never be up for debate. We should be protected. The working class, we make this city what it is, and you talking about harming us just to hold Hochul accountable, which I am 100% against. Like, what the out in New York City. We got Hochul coming up for re-election this year. Draw your line in the sand, Zohran. If she's not willing to do what she's supposed to do.
Thompson is absolutely right, and the numbers back him up. Mamdani sent a memo to state lawmakers proposing to slash the estate tax exemption from $7.35 million down to $750,000. That is a 90% reduction, and he wants to raise the top rate from 16% to 50%. I mean, think about it. A family with a home worth $750,000 with a 401k, some savings, a life insurance policy, you're over that threshold. That's not a mansion. That is a family house in Queens somewhere. Most of the homes are around that much money. It is an attack on the middle class. It's not an attack on the rich. To bring it down 90% doesn't make any sense.
You're talking about us losing our entire tax base. He cannot raise this 9.5%. What is he thinking? It's unrealistic. And we have a battle right now between the socialist agenda, the middle class folks that he claimed that he was in all support of for all the people, and yet he's going to hold us hostage.
But he's doing that because for him to have all these free things that he wants to propose, he needs as much taxes as possible. Then on top of that, he proposed a 9.5 property tax increase as a so-called last resort. That hits people who rent like myself. Landlords will pass that along. A $3,000 monthly rent, which is ridiculous, I know, but that's how much people pay. It's going to probably jump up another $200-300. And even the deputy council speaker, who represents predominantly black homeowners in Southside Queens, called this just ridiculous. The Queens borough president called it a non-starter. So this is what Thompson is talking about. You don't use working people as leverage against the mayor. You draw the line in the sand if you fight for the people who elected you. But Mamdani doesn't know that because, as Thompson said, this man has never had a job a day in his life.
When you look at what his housing advisor, what she has done, she wants to wage a middle class, a war against the middle class and homeowners, saying that, well, you know what, black families are going to be collateral damage. Do you know how hard it is for blacks to get to be homeowners, not only in America, but New York City? The struggles that we went through throughout the years to nonchalantly say that black folks are going to be casually affected by this. Like, I don't know what the city was thinking when they voted Zohran in, but I hope they prepared to hold him accountable and not make excuses for him via, what I call that term, political tribalism. Zohran just championed a way for homeowners to turn like attics, basements, non-living spaces to get permits for them to turn those into living spaces. Whenever you turn an attic or a basement or non-living space into a living space, the property value of your house goes up. So now maybe your house was 650,000 or 700,000. You below that estate tax threshold. When you add that extra living space or living component to your property, what happens? Now it goes to 800,000, 900,000, or whatever the case may be. He just thinks that he's slick with these moves that he's making.
Now, this is where it gets slick. Thompson called it, and the receipts are all over the place. Mamdani appointed C. Weaver, DSA member, as the director of the mayor's office to protect tenants. This is the same woman that tweeted in 2019 that home ownership is, in her words, a weapon against white supremacy masquerading as a wealth building public policy. She also posted about wanting to impoverish the white middle class and called for treating property as a collective good. Even former Mayor Eric Adams called her remarks extreme privilege and a total detachment from reality. The problem is that Steve Weaver doesn't understand that there are black people in New York City who own homes. It's not just white people who own homes. So are they masquerading as some kind of wealth building policy? And let's talk about the trap that Thompson identified. Mamdani is pushing a ADU program, encouraging homeowners to convert basements, attics, garages into living spaces. The city launched the ADU for You with pre-approved plans and financing up to $395,000. Sounds great on paper, but what happens when you add that living space? Your property value goes up. Now, if your home was worth $650,000 or $700,000, safely under that estate tax threshold, now it jumps to $800,000 or $900,000, and now you're taxable. It's a setup. You encourage people to build, then you tax them for building. That's not policy, that's a setup. And Thompson and many other people like him saw it coming.
Mamdani never had a job a day in his life, so he don't understand this hustle and bustle of real is of getting up every day, busting your behind, trying to avoid discipline, try to make it to the end of your career to get a pension. How can you vote for someone who has absolutely no experience to the average New Yorker? The grifting by Mamdani. He going to these communities, oh, Pop smoked this and Jada kissed this, and black folks fall for it all the time. Let's start using the ideology, what have you done for me lately? If a politician did not do anything for you lately, they can't point to anything that they have done for you. Don't give them your vote at all.
Now, here's what's completely wild. Mamdani is not even 100 days in, and his own people are turning on him. Council Speaker Julie Menin already put out a $6 billion counter budget without raising property taxes, without cutting services, without touching the rainy day fund. Mamdani immediately called it unrealistic.
We have been a hard no on the property tax. We also are a hard no on raiding the rainy day fund.
City Council Speaker Julie Menin says she and the council have found $6 billion in the city budget.
Cherry picking specific expense items that have a surplus without accounting for the fact that those are the very kinds of surpluses that are typically used to address individual deficits within departments and agencies. It does not present an honest picture of what this budget is.
Multiple members went on social media and called Mamdani's response disingenuous and deeply misleading.
Many took to X using words like disingenuous and deeply misleading to describe Mamdani's pushback at their proposal. Councilwoman Virginia Maloney said, "I know math is hard," in response to the mayor suggesting the council got it wrong. She told New York One the council went
line item by line item to try to identify savings.
City Councilwoman Linda Lee insisted that the vacancy savings identified by the council and disputed by the mayor will not hurt services.
These are not made up numbers. These are numbers that are city full-time employees that were in the budget. And simply what happened was they didn't fill the positions.
So this is not even Republicans versus Democrats. This is Democrats versus their own mayor. The city council represents the same voters Mamdani is supposed to be fighting for. And they're telling him publicly that his approach doesn't work. When your own party is pushing back this hard, this early, this is not just a policy disagreement. This is a crisis of leadership. And Thompson called it. Mamdani is more interested in making social media content than actual governing. Thompson said that the real New Yorkers are going to be gone. And I'm even thinking about it as much as I don't want to leave, but if things become more and more expensive, then how can I stay here? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I mean, I want a home. I haven't bought a home yet. And if this continues to happen with property taxes being so high, would it be even worth to purchase a home?
What do you believe New York City is going to look like in the next couple of years with Mamdani under the path, on the path that he's taken this city?
It's going to be like a college campus. Like, the real New Yorkers is going to be gone. It's going to be a whole bunch of people from other states coming to New York. There's no incentive to do anything. There's no incentive to own a home. There's no incentive to own a business. There's no incentive to do anything.
That's why the governor went on political and literally said maybe the first step should be to go down to Palm Beach to see who you could bring back home because our tax base has been eroded. She called wealthy people who stayed patriotic millionaires, which is hilarious. She admitted New York is in competition with states that have lower tax burdens. She even called New York taxpayers captives who used to be stuck because they had to work in Manhattan offices, but now remote work set them free. And many of these companies are looking to leave New York to go to other states where there's lower taxes. The data backs this whole thing up. A Partnership for New York City report found that Texas surpassed New York as the state with the most financial services employees in 2024. Financial services job postings in Texas exceeded New York by 9% in 2025. Wall Street is literally relocating, and the state comptroller's own report said spending is increasing faster than inflation and projected revenues. So when Thompson said there is no incentive to stay, he's not really exaggerating. The governor herself is admitting it, and Mamdani's response is just to propose more taxes. You really can't make this up. This is the one that should make everyone stop and think. Zohran campaigned on ending homeless encampment sweeps. He called them a failure. He said involuntary removal was the last resort. He positioned himself as some kind of compassionate alternative. But then the winter hit. New York City was freaking cold. It experienced an extremely historic cold weather snap, is what they call it. And 20 people died outside, outdoors. 20 people. The council speaker asked point blank during a hearing, how can someone refusing to come indoors in the freezing weather not be assessed as a danger to themselves? Council members were furious. The public was furious. So what did Mamdani do? He had to reverse his own policy back in February, brought back the encampment sweeps that he promised to end. Homeless advocates called it another broken promise, but they're just stupid. He tried to repackage it as a gentler version with outreach workers instead of the NYPD, but the damage was already done. People died, while Zohran stuck to ideology over common sense. That's the whole problem that Thompson and many people are highlighting. This man is governing based on what sounds good on social media, but not what actually works on the ground. And when your philosophy costs people their lives, it's not philosophy anymore. It's negligence. So this is the reality of what's happening in New York City right now. I think at this point, we're gonna have to realize that this is gonna probably get worse. This is gonna be a really rough, very dramatic 4 years, which is great for content creators, it's great for the news, but I don't think it's great for the people who actually live here, the everyday New Yorkers just trying to make ends meet. The wealthy people are going to leave. When it's all said and done, Zohran Mamdani is going to probably be one of the worst mayors in New York City, which is hilarious because I think Bill de Blasio was god awful. He may reach de Blasio level. Let me know what you guys think about this story in the comments below. If you haven't subscribed, hit that button. Over 80% of you guys who watch are not subscribed. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, all those good things. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.